Okay, so when I first kind of got introduced to yoga, all I saw was the flexibility. I saw that people looked slim, most of them, you know, and that was it. They were slim and they looked fit. That's all what I saw when I first was introduced to yoga. Then over the years, when I got had my HIV diagnosis, um, I thought, let me try something to keep me kind of healthy and active. And I understood that yoga was something that could help me stay fit. And then my journey into yoga started. Um, but the thing is, Emily, I don't know where to start with this, but I've kind of come so far with yoga and what I see as yoga. And I think you done a post, didn't you, recently on your Instagram account when you sat on a chair and you said, "This is yoga," with your legs
Yeah,
crossed, and you
I
said,
was
"This is
sitting,
yoga."
yeah, I was sitting in seated pigeon with there's basically just sitting with your
Yeah,
ankle over your knee. So
yeah, yeah,
because for me, I really want to break down this idea of the poses and that they
yeah,
only look one way and that there's a fullest version and then a continuum and everything under is like not as good and we should all be working towards this like higher
yeah.
thing. I really hate that. And I think it keeps people from trying. And I also think it keeps people from realizing they could just do yoga like at any moment. Like, oh, you're sitting in the bus. There's like
Yeah.
1,000 different
No.
yoga that you could do. Yeah, like,
Yeah, yeah,
ooh, you
yeah,
know?
yeah. Do you know what, right? I am on an absolute quest. It's my new bee in my bonnet. I'm on a quest to make yoga accessible. I want
Yeah.
everyone to know out there that yoga is for you. It's for everyone. Yoga is not about, there's no end goal with yoga. The end goal isn't about being able to stand on your head or do particular, fun positions. Yoga is about understanding yourself.
Yeah. For me, it's also about feeling yourself. Like feeling your body and being able to know, oh, that feels good. That doesn't feel good. I kind of want
Yeah,
to move it like this,
yeah,
and actually being able instead of just I see person in front of me, I
yeah.
force myself into that shape because that's what yoga is. I don't
So,
like
so let's break it down a bit.
yeah.
Like in a yoga class, you're in yoga class, and you look at the person next to you, and you can see what they're doing. And there's this element of competitive yoga in the West that I don't think a lot of people really realize is there. People who are not really involved in the yoga world and they just think, well, yeah, I want to do yoga and I think it's good for me. They don't realize that not only are there different styles of yoga, um, yoga isn't just about the kind of flexibility part.
Yeah. And also there's community dynamics to any style, any studio, any class. Like, if you go to the 6 a.m. Hot class, it's probably going to be pretty competitive people, like who
Yeah.
else is going to be waking up at 6 a.m. to
Yeah.
do that? And then there's all kinds of politics, like who's closest to the mirror, who's closest to the
Yeah.
back, who has to
Yeah.
lay down,
Forgot
who
about all
gets the
that.
shower first, like
Yeah, 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 yeah.
who has the Lululemon mat. And it's like,
It,
I mean, I don't actually often I don't go to that many group classes really because my brain naturally is comparing myself to other people and
yeah,
thinking I'm
yeah,
shit. So
yeah,
I try to keep that away from me, but
yeah.
maybe if
Because
you
it's
don't do that, it's okay.
yeah, no. That's why I like doing online yoga, and I like doing
Yeah.
yoga like online. And when I do yoga online, and if I'm doing it in a group, I don't look at everyone. I turn everyone off, and
I
I
just
just look at
ping
the
the
teacher.
instructor. Yeah.
That's what I do because It's so easy to get caught up in that comparison. And this is quite important. I want to say this, in the olden days, like before before I fully understood about the different styles in yoga, I would just see a yoga class and say, I'm going to go to that class.
Mm.
But I think, people that haven't tried yoga before, try to find out what style of yoga is being taught. Because if not, it could be quite off-putting, can't it?
Oh yeah.
It's like getting the wrong therapist or something, it
And it's
doesn't
not
work.
all even just if it's super fast and contorted, like we've talked about before. Some people need movement. They need a
Yeah,
little bit of strength and resistance because maybe sitting in a restorative shavasana for 25 minutes could be like torture for them.
yeah,
So I
yeah,
think it's really important that you're not forcing yourself to do anything you want to do, whether that's be calm or be super active or contort. And it can the thing that's important is it's not just for newbies. This like element of force can creep in at any moment
element of
in your
what?
yoga.
What did you say? An
Element of
element.
force, like
Okay,
it can
force, yeah.
creep in at any point. Like, I mean,
Yeah,
I've been doing yoga since I was 14 years old. So I'm 35. And just a year and a half ago, I got caught in a situation where I forced myself into a twist because I was being
yeah,
an example. And I felt like I had to keep forcing. And then I
yeah.
overtwisted my spine.
I think,
And
yeah, yeah. And what happened?
well, I think I talked to you about this before, but it was a group class, and
Mm.
I was the youngest person in the class.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Everybody else was in 60s or 70s. And
Mm.
when I joined the class, I felt like maybe the instructor kind of bought into this mindset of real yoga and good yoga versus
Yeah,
just
yeah,
yoga for everyone. And so he started using me as an example a lot and
mm,
calling attention to me, which wasn't good for my body image, first of all, because I felt like
yeah,
really looked at. And
yeah, yeah,
also wasn't good for the participants because they're all like 60 and 70 and they're being shown that my version at 30
yeah,
is good.
yeah, yeah,
And so he was on one side, I went pretty deep into a twist just naturally. And he said, okay, everybody, look at Emily, like,
yeah.
wow, this is perfect. And he was
Oh
like, do it on the other side. Show him again how you get into it. So I was so
oh,
nervous to be looked at. I was doing it on
yeah,
the other side and I actually didn't cross my legs the right way. But
yeah,
I wasn't feeling my body. And so I just kept going and going and I
yeah,
totally rang my spine. It was like bad for like 3 weeks. It was like, oh, it felt like I'd been in a car accident or something, you know?
yeah, yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, it's so much work. It takes so much work to get your mindset in the right place when it comes to yoga. Because I think I had an injury recently, and I was doing quite fast yoga, and my kind of subconscious or conscious subconscious mind just kind of went into that. Okay, just follow it through. Just go. It's saying, actually, Louise, maybe sit this particular pose out or not do it. And I went with it. And then, I've got a dodgy shoulder now. And, you can get injuries from yoga.
Oh
You know,
yeah. That's why I know when I'm studying yoga therapy, we're always kind of lamenting when a doctor says to a patient, do yoga, it's great for you. And they don't tell the
yeah,
patient what kind, right? So that
yeah,
like you
yeah,
said, the patient just, okay, yoga. And then
yeah.
maybe they join
Yoga class. Yeah,
whatever, and it might not be good for what's going on with them at all. And
yeah,
we've also, I know we always talk about in the yoga therapy space that the yogis are the most injured ones.
yeah,
And sometimes they have the most trouble feeling their bodies. I don't have the book up here, but what I've been really interested in lately is connecting it with muscles. So right
yeah.
now I'm working on
Uh,
connecting and becoming aware of my core muscles.
uh,
Not as a way to like get awesome abs, but to feel them as I move. And so for
yeah,
me, if I can move quickly, still feeling, then it's okay.
yeah.
But if like you said, I'm just,
I'm just
you
doing it.
know,
Yeah, 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 yeah,
that's
yeah.
when you
And
get
not,
hurt.
yeah, because, he says count to 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, now turn, 1, 2, 3,
Yeah.
and I'm not actually breathing. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just kind of robotic. And when I go back, when I think about like myself and other people who live with HIV, when you find something like that out, and over the years, you can end up like disassociating from your body for a number of reasons, you can imagine. So, so stepping into the yoga field to try and kind of, as a way of living well with HIV, and then you go into this world and it's another traumatic experience of people in the class comparing themselves and the teacher saying, come on, push, get down, do it, stretch, and I'm not, I want to be careful. I don't want people to think that all yoga classes are like this. The reason that I'm really keen to talk about this is so that people are aware that there are different types of yoga. There are different types of yoga teachers.
Oh,
And
yeah.
it's just so important that you go with how you feel. If you think that class is too fast or too slow, if you notice that you're comparing yourself to others, maybe start questioning, why that might be, because yoga's not about that.
No. And it's funny because it's easy to see when we say like good yoga, bad yoga,
Yeah.
but also another word that's like insidiously weaponized is healthy, like healthy yoga. That's healthy. And I think in one way it can be really good. Like, is this beneficial for you? Is this healthy for your body? But more and more, I'm noticing the use of the word healthy in a way that's like hierarchical, like
I know. I'm glad you mentioned that. I'm really glad you mentioned that. So, what's an alternative way, a trauma-informed way, maybe, of talking about
it's
health?
hard because especially, I mean, from an eating disorder perspective, like healthy can become an eating disorder, orthorexic, when you only want healthy food. And it sucks because in its true essence, healthy could be a really great word. So, I think it's important to just more qualify it a little more, like maybe say beneficial and safe for your body. That's
Nourishing. Is that another?
nourishing. Yeah, like words like this. And it's unfortunate because, language is just how we use it. There's nothing
Yeah,
actually wrong with the word healthy. It's
yeah,
just how we're using it lately.
yeah.
Maybe.
But I mean, we said that we're going to talk about we're going to do a podcast about food, you know, and yeah, just recently somebody was saying that when you say the word like, oh, healthy food or vegan food being healthy, it kind of can put some people off. Um, Emily, I'm not sure if you can hear me, but I think I will end our
I can hear
recording
you.
now. Oh, right, okay, because you're frozen. Oh, you was going to say
Oh,
I was going to end.
sorry. Yeah, I can hear you fine. I hear everything you're saying.
Okay, I'm not sure how long we've been on for, but listen, if there was someone out there listening to us right now, so okay, let's give some final words to teachers and also students. So, what 3 things would you say to a yoga teacher?
Okay. To yoga teachers, I think first thing, do not valorize one student's version of yoga, right?
Mhm.
You can maybe comment on the general class, but going up to someone and using them as an example, saying this is good, can be
Mhm.
really damaging.
Yeah,
2, always make sure you build in and remind your students that choice is open to them in the class.
yeah,
And it's not stigmatized. There's nothing wrong with lying down or doing something different. And the last thing, always make sure safety is emphasized in your classes. And you can do that in a lot of ways. And one of which is by changing the way you use language around props and alternate versions of the pose. Instead
yeah.
of saying variation, which has a hierarchical, like it seems
Oh.
variations are used to mean more intense, and
Mm.
modifications are used to mean, oh, like
Yeah,
easier.
modified. Yeah,
Take
yeah,
these
yeah.
two words, throw them out the window, and just
Mm.
say alternate versions, I think is better.
Yeah, yeah,
Because there's nothing wrong with props.
yeah,
And one variation isn't better than a modification. They can activate different muscles, they can do different
yeah.
things. So there's no room for that.
Alternative. Okay, I'm going to remember that actually. And I'm going to add on to that for any yoga teachers listening. I would say, be true to yourself. There's so much kind of, I'm not sure of the word's competition, but there's so many yoga teachers out there doing the same thing. And sometimes it's easy to kind of get swept up into that. This is the kind of yoga teacher I should be. Let me stand on my head and show everyone what I can do. And then if they see that I'm good at this, they're gonna maybe want me to teach them. And I would say to yoga teachers out there listening that just maybe consider that you're enough. You don't have to worry about not being good enough, and therefore trying to teach and show your students that
you're a real yogi.
Demonstrate, that you're a real yogi, trying to demonstrate how good you are so they can see that you're a teacher. Because I do understand that there's a lot of imposter syndrome when it comes to yoga teachers, and they feel that they need to really show how good they are. And I just wanted to emphasize what you said there as well. And I agree with you, Emily, about giving options for poses when we're teaching students. If there was some stuff that you'd say to yoga students, what would you say?
I'd say, firstly, whenever you're going into a yoga class, keep your critical eye. Like, if something, don't just let the instructor become like a puppet master of your body. Guard your body and your agency. And if you don't want to do something, don't do it. So that's the first thing. The second thing I would say is be really curious about what your body tells you when you're in a position. Listen, try really to listen. Okay, am I breathing? Does something hurt? Where do I feel this? And if you have trouble noticing your breath is usually a little bit easier. So you can usually tell if you're inhaling or exhaling. So if you can't do it when you're in a pose, then it's probably too intense. And the last thing I would say is let it be okay to have your own version of the pose. Let it be okay to not look like whoever is next to you.
Oh, I love that. So there's no good or bad yoga. Are you a bad yogi, Emily?
I'm always bad.
Okay,
I'm a bad girl.
I'm gonna stop the recording. It's down the line. Thanks for listening, everyone.
Bye.